Hey everybody, welcome back to Video Game Targeting series on the MiSTer FPGA DE10 Nano project, more specifically in this instance, the Nintendo 64 core, because last week a brand new ROM hack came out, the Patchmaker's Workshop from Calquack, which completely pivots up on the Super Mario 64 formula, making it a very dark and atmospheric game with a little bit of light horror element in it as well. Definitely has a lot of inspiration, probably mostly from Coraline, except versus having buttons on the eyes, you're going to have things like patches on the actual characters. And I'm not going to ruin too much of the story for you here because I definitely want you to check it out. It has a lot of fun twists and turns and definitely a ton of fun gameplay as well. Before we get too far involved, do me a huge favor down below, hit like and subscribe and ring that notification bell. Definitely helps us out. If you feel so inclined and want to support the channel, I got a Patreon link down below as well. But obviously, you can tell already, this takes place in the engine of Super Mario 64, so all of the same gameplay elements are going to be here, although I will say some of the characters can be slightly hard to actually talk to. You have to be basically perfectly lined up with them, but other than that, the game definitely has a ton of charm and a very completely different vibe than pretty much any other Super Mario 64 ROM hack out there. This isn't going to be the haunted Mario cartridge you see from some of the other games, but it's not going to be the bright cheery Super Mario 64 ROM hacks you see from other makers as well. It definitely goes its own direction. I think it does a really good job actually choosing that way to go because it feels completely different than everything else while still having that Super Mario 64 familiarity. And obviously I'm doing this under the guise of a MiSTer FPGA testing video. This patch will definitely work on real hardware as well as MiSTer FPGA. We're using the turbo core here to test as well. That way you can get just a few more frames of performance, although this one is one you can run in emulation as well if you so choose. But this, I love the fact that it just kind of mutes down the overall color profile of Super Mario 64. Sure, you have some pops of color, but the first stage takes place in this very drab world, greens, browns, and a couple of grays as well. It's only punctuated by these light pinks of the flowers, which end up actually being some jumping platforms for you, so I think it really does a good job of demarcating exactly what it is you're supposed to look at when you're moving through the world. That is something very intelligently designed from the maker to be able to kind of lead you along the right path but make you have a sense of discovery all at the same time. Some of the jumps though you have to be pretty perfect on, so make sure you take your time, line yourself up, and you'll definitely have a better go of it because it is still Super Mario 64, so platforming still is going to be paramount. And that's something you definitely want in a Super Mario 64 fan game or ROM hack. You want that same ability to really feel like you were controlling Mario to the best of your abilities, but you want it done in a completely different environment. And I love how those two flowers right there dump you into this little slide that puts you into this, what looks to be a bird's nest or a tree, and kind of moves you along the level. And you have all these sakura blossoms falling in the wind as well. It has a very beautiful imagery to it, even if it really is just sparsely utilizing that color. Because you're getting something like the Patchmaker's Workshop versus the original colors in Super Mario 64, and you can see a complete world of difference. Now, as far as the gameplay is concerned, Mario's going to get a ton of new abilities, but I'm only going to show you one because I want the rest of them to be discovered by you. The sense of discovery in this game definitely is a lot of the hook of it, and trust me, the initial level here unfolds relatively slowly, but it is all building to a ton of fun and new innovative features, so hang with this one. The first 5-10 minutes definitely are a bit understated and a bit quiet, both in tone and gameplay, but once you really get some of the new abilities, it's going to really make you think, what am I supposed to do with them and how is it going to progress me into the game? Because you'll see here there is a pit to fall down, and normally in these ROM hacks, pits don't lead to very nice places. And you will see here that there's this entire bramble patch in front of us, and now we can't really do anything about it. We are stuck. But as Mario walks forward, he's going to see a new patch on the ground. So obviously this is going to be how he gets his power-ups here. You're not going to be going to switch palaces. You're going to be getting different patches that Mario can apply and then use within the game to give him different abilities. If you haven't noticed yet, that looks like a rock, and you're going to get a very trippy sequence once you actually pick it up. And that is just a ton of fun as well. The imagery in this game, completely different than you would expect to see out of any Super Mario 64 game before it. But it's soundtrack sample time because the music's amazing. 45 seconds, and I'll be right back with a ton more. The soundtrack's something that you would expect to see out of a Mario game, but also sounds completely different at the same time. And now that we have our first patch, being able to turn Mario into stone, you're going to see you're able to actually cross through all those thickets of bramble there, so long as you are stoned when you are jumping through them. So it's going to give a completely new sensation to the overall platforming. And trust me, in this game, platforming definitely is going to be something you need to do a ton of. So you want to make sure you get very good at it. That way you can actually get further into the game. And I love that you basically get picked up by that origami thing that everyone used to have in middle school, where you'd kind of flip it around and it would quote unquote tell you its future. But again, the Patchmaker's Workshop is just so inventive, and the minute you get that stone power up, you're going to see areas in the game that you thought were just there for overall design that are now going to be accessible to you. But trust me, you don't want to hit them too often because you are going to actually get hurt as you touch them. So you need to figure out the right way to jump into them. There is more than one way, but you definitely have to pay attention and kind of think what it is you're doing in the game, because as soon as you get that stone power up, a lot more of the world is going to open itself up to you. And trust me, it's not like this is going to be the only patch you see. There's going to be a lot more fun. And in some ways, as we go into these underground cave areas, feels a little bit like Pikmin as well to me, just in the fact that you're going underground and kind of seeing what's going on. And if you are Stone Mario, you sink to the bottom of the water because that's just what a stone would do. But I love the creativity on display here. It definitely feels like something that could be done in the Super Mario universe, because obviously it has been, but it also feels like a completely different game at the same time. It is Nintendo 64 still, so sometimes you are going to have to kind of fight the camera every once in a while to understand how to line your shot up, because now you have a lot of different platforming to do. You'll see there, one slight jump too far and you end up getting reset, but the developer was very nice. They allowed you to kind of have those reset points. You're not really going to end up having to die there. You're just going to lose a little bit of health and respawn. So once you understand the cadence of how those jumps work and understand how to move through the world more, it is just going to be that much more fun for you. And again, because this is on MiSTer FPGA, we have no latency in the controls whatsoever, and we have HDMI out as well. But that'll be the same fact if you have a modded Nintendo 64 or if you're playing on a CRT, because this thing absolutely looks great in analog as well. Leave me a comment down below and you tell me, have you played the Patchmaker's Workshop yet, and have you heard of it, or is this the first time actually hearing about the game? If you do want to play it, as always, there's a link to the patch below. You'll have to patch it yourself, but definitely take my word for it. It is worth it, because this game has a large puzzle aspect to it as well. You kind of have to understand where to go in these areas to kind of move around, and I really like that sense of exploration, unlike some other Mario ROM hacks, which just kind of play it straight with the go get the stars and you kind of understand how to do it. And trust me, there's nothing wrong with that. The Patchmaker's Workshop really gives you a ton of different areas to explore and a lot of secrets to discover, so make sure you keep your eyes open when you're running around, and it'll definitely work out well for you. But as far as the art style is concerned, again, I love how natural it is. We aren't getting many colors whatsoever, only when they are necessary, so it really does feel like more of a natural world, with all of these cave systems being in kind of gray and black like you would expect caves to be. But we're going to do a second soundtrack simply because, again, the music in this game is so interesting and unique. We're going to do 35 seconds, but don't go anywhere because there is still more Patchmaker's Workshop to enjoy. But enjoy this music.
Let's go!
Not only is the music fun that it sounds great coming out of the Nintendo 64 hardware, but I love how it's subdued in the underground areas and bright and cheery in the overworld. It does a great job of actually using different musical tracks to kind of convey that emotion and tone. And you'll see here, you definitely want to take advantage of that stone power up, because it's going to speed you up in certain places, and it's going to be the only way you're actually able to complete those jumps. But once you get enough stars, you're going to see it's back and you have to hide, and a gigantic Pokey is going to come out of the ground, giving you your first boss fight of the Patchmaker's Workshop. And I love the boss fights in here as well. It's absolutely a wild time. You can definitely see there with the buttons over the eyes, some big Coraline vibes as well. But the Patchmaker's Workshop is basically taking a game you played 100 times before and making it feel completely different, with new mechanics, different ideas, and a completely different tone. And trust me, it is something you want to check out if you've been playing a ton of Super Mario 64 ROM hacks and fan games and you feel like you want something new and fresh and exciting. Something like the Patchmaker's Workshop has that. And the best part is, again, it works works flawlessly on MiSTer FPGA, whether you're on the standard core or the turbo core. And I'm not saying those pokey segments just look like hot dog rounds with a toothpick in front of them, but it definitely does have that vibe. And you'll see here you do get some more information on how to fight the boss, and then everything opens up and changes again. And that is the fun part about the Patchmaker's Workshop. You're always learning something new, you're always getting something new power-up wise, and you're always getting more information because you know you got that stone power-up, and you have to realize every time you get a power-up, it's going to be useful for basically everything until you get the next power-up, and then something else might change from there. But using Stone Mario, we were able to knock that Pokey down to its individual segments, and now those characters can bump you into the air. You will see that there is a little bit of a frame rate slowdown. That's just because suddenly this is drawing every single polygon on screen with no culling, and it would do the exact same thing on real hardware. But it is a nice design choice as well to allow it to slow down, because you actually have to time your falling the right way, so it does give you a little bit more time to actually manage that. So they use this slowdown very inventively to actually give you more control. And if you want to just drop down to the ground, you turn to stone and everything moves quicker. But definitely check this one out. I can't stress enough just how engaging, unique, and different it is compared to pretty much every other Nintendo 64 fan game in the Mario universe out there. You can do a lot worse in the Patchmaker's Workshop, take my word for it. But short of that, we're done. We're going to try to keep killing this Pokey, and I'll see you guys next time. Hope you enjoyed the video. Bye-bye.